What's old is new again. Younger people are now copying some of the spending and saving habits from their grandparents' generation.
Consumer investigator Christine Lazar is here to explain this new financial trend. Christine.
Yeah, we're learning from the boomers. Some of those habits that were once thought of as outdated or uncool are becoming popular again. I'm joined now by CPA Bob Wheeler, the CEO of Wherler and Bi. Hi, Bob. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's talk about some of these habits, these spending and saving habits that the older generations have used for a long time that now the younger ones are catching on to. Start with the envelope method.
So the old school envelope method, that's where you take 15, 20 envelopes, housing, entertainment, food, fitness, and you put your allotments of money into each of those envelopes. And then when you need to spend for the rent, if you've run out, well, you're at your budget. And so it just helps you really control the money that's going out. It's very obvious.
So to get away from the reliance that we often have on these buy now, pay later services or credit cards. I mean, I remember my grandfather used to have an envelope with the money for the month, and that's what they used. And when that money was gone, they ate leftovers.
Absolutely, and money, it makes it more real. Like if you get a $100 bill, you don't want it to leave your wallet because the minute it turns into 20s, it just runs out.
That's very true. Okay, now let's talk about the 50-30-20 rule. What is that?
So that's needs, wants, and then savings / extra debt.
Okay, so the 50 is the needs?
Right.
Okay.
And the thing is, you have to get real clear about what a need is. Housing is a need, groceries are a need. Dodger tickets might be a want.
Coachella,
right?
Not so much a need.
Right.
We want to talk about saving too, because obviously a lot of people feeling like they're spending paycheck to paycheck, but there usually is some ways to find saving. And you talk about changing the way that younger people socialize to save money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I recommend this to my younger clients that are struggling. Have a dinner date with friends at somebody's home so that everybody's bringing a dish instead of going out and spending $15 a glass of wine at a restaurant, and so they can socialize and not spend the money and have more of a connection. I
think a lot of the younger generation feel like what the boomer generation was able to attain is not something that we can attain now. You know, just look at housing prices. Even when you adjust them for inflation, what our parents were able to buy a home for is not what we can get a home for. But there is something to be said about the way that they saved and spent. What is it, do you think, that is desirable? What did they do right that we can take into the later generations?
I think what they got right, maybe too much, but was actually focusing on the future as well as the present instead of just, let me have my experience now. And so I think there is something foundational about being prepared for emergencies, having less anxiety because I can sleep at night knowing I've got things under control.
And do you think that that will also help these young people head into retirement? Obviously, that's a long way for them, but like I know my parents, I feel like everything they did when they were working was set for retirement, and we don't hear that as much.
We don't, and I think before Gen Z, everybody was more like now, and I think with Gen Z, it's starting to be, I want both. So let me find that balance, and I think we're really starting to find that, yeah, let me buy that and hold on to it for a long time. DVDs are coming back, records are coming back. It's tangible things that we have instead of a monthly subscription that just disappears.
And keeping your car for longer and staying put, like my parents still live in the same home. They brought me home from the hospital too. There is something to be said about that.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thanks so much for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us.